In the subway car, I stared blankly at my phone screen. Suddenly, a translucent digital box appeared above the head of the girl in the front row. Affinity, 12. I rubbed my eyes, but the numbers remained clearly visible. Turning to look at the uncle next to him. Affinity, 0. The elementary school student on the left. Affinity, 8. My heart started pounding wildly. What's going on here? My name is Lin Chen. I'm 25 years old and work as a copywriter at an advertising agency. This morning, while riding the subway, my life completely changed. Those numbers floating above everyone's head resembled some kind of game interface. I tried closing my eyes and opening them again, but the numbers were still there. The girl with an affinity, 12, is playing with her phone, occasionally glancing at me with a slight frown. The uncle with an affinity, 0, stared blankly out the window. The elementary school student with the affinity, 8, stared curiously at the cartoon stickers on my backpack. My hands started to tremble. This can't be an illusion, as it's too detailed. When I focus on observing a particular person, the numbers even change slightly. For example, with that girl, when I accidentally stepped on her foot, the number jumped from 12 to 15. Upon arriving at the company, I couldn't wait to test this capability. In the elevator, the receptionist Su Ching was retouching her lipstick. Above her head appeared Affinity, 3. Good morning, Su Ching. I took the initiative to say hello. Good morning, Lin Chen. She replied with a smile. The number jumped to 5. My heart is about to burst out of my chest. This ability is real. In the office, my direct supervisor, Manager Wang, had the following displayed above his head. Affinity, 8. Colleague Zhang from the same group. Affinity, 12. Zhaoya from the neighboring department. The girl I've had a crush on for half a year. Affinity, 2. When I saw Zhaoya's numbers, my mood instantly soured. It turns out she has a negative impression of me. Lin Chen, where's the proposal you were supposed to write yesterday? Manager Wang approached, his tone unfriendly. I quickly turned on my computer. Just a moment. It'll be ready soon. The number above his head jumped to 10. I took a deep breath and began to ponder the meaning of this ability. If I could see everyone's level of affection for me, does that mean I could handle interpersonal relationships more effectively? For example, I can tell who deserves to be befriended closely, who needs to be avoided, who has good intentions toward me, and who has bad intentions. This is literally the ultimate tool for social situations. At lunch, I deliberately sat next to Xiao Zhang. Brother Zhang, what do you think of Manager Wang? I asked tentatively. Xiao Zhang looked around and lowered his voice. Don't tell anyone. But I think he's a scumbag. Last time, he took my idea and credited himself for it. The number above his head jumped from 12 to 15. It turns out that sharing secrets can increase likability. What about Zhaoya? Who does she get along well with usually? Xiao Zhang gave a suggestive look. What? Are you interested in her? Let me tell you. She seems to have a boyfriend. I've seen her eating with a guy who drives a BMW. My mood plummeted to rock bottom in an instant. However, Xiao Zhang's number has increased slightly again. 17. It seems that gossiping can also help strengthen relationships. In the afternoon, I began to consciously test this ability. I've noticed some interesting patterns. When I sincerely praise others, my likability increases. When I act a bit mysterious or funny, my likability also increases. When I show my weaknesses or need help, some people's goodwill toward me increases. When I act too eagerly or try to please others, my favorability actually decreases. The most amazing thing is that I've also discovered that I can gauge the effectiveness of my speech by observing how the numbers change. For example, when chatting with Su Qing at the front desk, I mentioned that I wanted to go to the movies over the weekend. Her number jumped from 5 to 8, but when I hinted that I wanted to go out with her, the number dropped back to 4. This shows that she's interested in the topic of watching movies, but she's a bit reluctant to go on a date with me alone. With this numerical guide, I can precisely control the direction of the conversation. When I left work, I passed by Zhao Ya's desk. She was packing up her things. The glaring message affinity 2 was still visible above her head. Zhao Ya, shall we wait for the elevator together? I mustered the courage to say. She glanced up at me and smiled politely. Sure. But the numbers remained the same. In the elevator, I tried to start a conversation. How was work today? It's okay. Just a little tired. She replied indifferently. The number jumped to 1. I felt relieved, although it was still negative. At least it was on the rise. Want to go down to the cafe downstairs together? I'll pay for it, I suggested tentatively. She hesitated for a moment. No, I have other things to do. The number has dropped back to 2. It seems like she really doesn't have any good feelings for me. When I got home, my roommate Wang Lei was playing games on the sofa. Above his head, it read, Affinity, 25. This number surprised me a bit. I didn't expect Wang Lei to have such a high level of favorability toward me. Lei He, how was your day? I sat next to him. Not bad. How about you? You seem a little upset. He put down the controller and looked at me with concern. The number jumped to 28. Nothing much. Just work-related stuff. Tell me about it. Maybe I can give you some advice. I suddenly realized that Wang Lei might be the person who inspires the most positive feelings in me right now. His sincere concern really warmed my heart. Actually, it's nothing serious. I'm just a little lost, I said, half truly, half jokingly. Wang Lei patted my shoulder. Take your time. Everything will be fine eventually. By the way, do you want to grab some late-night snacks together? The number jumped to 30. At that moment, I suddenly understood a truth. Those with high numbers aren't necessarily the most useful, but they're definitely the most sincere. On the second day of work, I decided to make more systematic use of this ability. This morning, as I passed by the cafe, I watched everyone in line while waiting to buy coffee. The clerk with an affinity 0 is mechanically operating the coffee machine. The female customer with the affinity 2 is waiting for her order. The male customer with the affinity 5 is impatiently urging for action. When it was my turn, I smiled sincerely at the clerk. Good morning. I'd like an Americano. Okay. Please wait a moment. The clerk replied politely. The number jumped to 1. Your coffee is really delicious. Drinking a cup every morning really lifts my mood. I praised sincerely. A hint of surprise flashed in the clerk's eyes. Thank you. This is a new recipe developed by our store manager. The number jumped to 4. I'll bring my colleagues along next time to give it a try. That's great. Let me issue you a membership card, and you'll get a 10 discount. The number jumped to 6. In just a few minutes of interaction, I managed to raise a stranger's favorability score from 0 to 6. Upon arriving at the company, I began to implement a bold plan. First is Su Qing. Her status bar still shows Affinity 5. Su Qing. Your hairstyle looks great today, I said casually as I passed by the reception desk. She subconsciously touched her hair and smiled sweetly. Thank you for the compliment. The number jumped to 7. Oh, by the way, my friend owns a dessert shop. I'll take you there to try their food when I have time. Really, I love desserts the most. Her eyes lit up. The number jumped to 10. Next is my colleague, Jean. His favorability level is already quite high. Favorability, 17. Brother Jean, the idea you mentioned to me yesterday is great. I've already included it in the proposal. I'll mention that it's your suggestion. Xiao Zhang was a bit surprised. Really? That's great. The number jumped to 22. In the future, if we have any good ideas, we can share them with each other. After all, one person's strength is limited. No problem. I think you're a reliable person. The number jumped to 25. Then there's Manager Wang, who's the most difficult to deal with. The affinity, 10 displayed above his name, is like a huge obstacle to overcome. I knocked on the door of his office. Manager, I've revised yesterday's proposal. Please take a look and let me know if there are any areas that need adjustment. Manager Wang took the proposal and flipped through a couple of pages casually. It's a bit better than before. The numbers remain unchanged. Manager, I believe that if this project is successful, it will greatly contribute to our department's performance. I'd like to invest more time to make it even better. Manager Wang glanced up at me. What's your opinion? The number jumped to 8. I'd like to request overtime to refine the proposal further. Additionally, if necessary, I can take the initiative to reach out to clients to secure more opportunities for communication. Manager Wang's expression softened a bit. That's a good attitude. But I can't approve overtime pay. The number jumped to 5. It doesn't matter. I mainly want to learn from your experience. As a manager with so many years of experience in this industry, you must have a lot of valuable insights to share. This time, Manager Wang smiled and said, "All right, then go ahead and do your job well. Come to me anytime if you have any problems." The number jumped to 2. Although it's still negative, there's been a noticeable improvement. At lunch, I deliberately sat with a few colleagues I wasn't very familiar with. By observing the changes in the numbers, I discovered many interesting facts. Who is dissatisfied with company policies? Their favorability toward the company will decrease when a company is mentioned. Who shows particular interest in a certain project, their favorability level increases when related topics are discussed. Who has conflicts with whom affinity decreases when the other person is mentioned. This information has given me a clearer understanding of the interpersonal relationships in the office. In the afternoon, I made a surprising discovery. When I met Jiaoya in the tea room, the number displayed above her head was affinity, 1. Yesterday, it was still 2. But today, it's turned into a positive number. Good afternoon, Jiaoya. I greeted her tentatively. Good afternoon. Her response was a bit more enthusiastic than yesterday. The number jumped to 2. I'm sorry about yesterday. Maybe my invitation was a bit abrupt. I offered my apologies proactively. She was a little surprised. It's okay. I really had something to do yesterday. The number jumped to 4. Then, if there's a chance next time, how about we have coffee together? Just as friends. Chatting. I chose my words carefully. She hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Okay. The number jumped to 6. I could hardly believe my own eyes. Jiaoya, who was cold to me yesterday, actually agreed to go get coffee with me today. This ability is simply amazing. After work, I couldn't wait to share this discovery with Wang Lei. When he got home, Wang Lei was cooking in the kitchen. The number displayed above his head remained high. Affinity, 30. Lei He, in a good mood today. I went into the kitchen to offer my help. Not bad. Today's work went pretty smoothly. How about you? You seem much more energetic than yesterday. The number jumped to 32. Indeed, some interesting things happened today. Let me hear it. Wang Lei asked while chopping vegetables. Of course, I couldn't possibly tell him the truth. I had to make up a story about how things were going well at work. But Wang Lei listened very carefully, nodding in agreement from time to time. The number gradually rose to 35. While eating, I suddenly had a question. Lei, do you think the relationships between people can be quantified? Wang Lei put down his chopsticks and thought carefully. What do you mean? For example, Can affection be measured in numerical terms? This idea is quite interesting, but I think human nature is complex, and numbers might not be able to fully capture it. Said Wang Lei. The number jumped to 37. For example, even though I know that you have a high level of affection for me, I don't know what's the reason behind it. Is it because we get along well? Or because you need my help? Or something else entirely? Wang Lei's words made me think. Indeed, numbers can only tell me the results, but not the reasons behind them. Moreover, people's emotions can change. What's a 37 today might turn into a 10 tomorrow. Although this ability is powerful, it also has its limitations. Lying in bed at night, I reflected on today's achievements. This ability can indeed help me improve my interpersonal relationships, but I need to be more careful and not rely too heavily on numbers. True friendship and feelings cannot be measured by mere numbers. Thinking of this, I suddenly felt a bit worried. If I keep using this ability to manipulate others' emotions, will I lose genuine interpersonal relationships when all interactions become nothing more than a digital game? Can I still experience true friendship and love? This question kept me awake for a long time. A week later, I had basically mastered how to use this ability. There have been significant changes in the interpersonal relationships in the office. Su Qing's favorability toward me has risen to 15. Xiao Zhang even achieved 30. Even manager Wang's score has risen from 10 to 3. What excites me the most is Zhao Ye, her score has stabilized at 8. Today at noon, we agreed to meet at the cafe downstairs from the company. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. Zhao Ye rushed in, looking apologetic. Above her head, it displayed affinity 8. It's okay. I just arrived too. I stood up and pulled out a chair for her. The number jumped to 9. What would you like to drink? I'll go order it. Cappuccino, please. The number jumped to 10. We found a table by the window and sat down. Zhao Ye took off her scarf, revealing her delicate collarbones. How's work lately? I took the initiative to start the conversation. It's okay. But there's one project that's quite tricky. The client's requirements keep changing, which puts us in a difficult position. She said helplessly. The number remains at 10. Would you like to talk about it? Maybe I can help. Zhao Ye's eyes lit up. Is it really possible? The number jumped to 12. Over the next half hour, Zhao Ye explained in detail the difficulties she was facing. I listened carefully and offered some suggestions from time to time. Although I don't know much about her business, I found that as long as I show a sincere interest in what she says, her goodwill toward me increases steadily. Your idea makes sense. I'll give it a try when I get back. Zhao Ye smiled sweetly. The figure has risen to 15. By the way, there's an art exhibition over the weekend. My friend gave me 2 tickets. Would you like to go with me? I asked tentatively. Zhao Ye hesitated for a moment. What art exhibition? The contemporary oil painting exhibition seems quite nice. I heard. Sure. I'm quite interested in art. The number jumped to 17. I was overjoyed inside, but remained calm on the surface. Then let's meet at the exhibition hall entrance at 2 p.m. on Saturday. Okay? And that's how I managed to arrange a date with a goddess I'd had a crush on for half a year. Back at the office, I was in an extremely good mood. However, the good mood didn't last long. During the meeting this afternoon, I noticed a strange phenomenon. My colleague Lee's favorability level has always been around 5, but today it suddenly dropped to 3. Moreover, when I tried to talk to him, his responses were noticeably colder. After the meeting, I went up to Xiao Li and said, "Brotherly, how have you been lately?" "Not bad," he replied, without even looking up. The number jumped to 5. You don't seem to be in a good mood. What happened? Xiao Li glanced at me. his eyes seeming to hold a hint of hostility. Nothing. The number jumped to 7. I'm very confused. Just a few days ago, we were chatting happily together. Why did his attitude change so suddenly? After work in the evening, I went to see Xiao Zhang to find out what was going on. Brother Zhang, do you know what's wrong with Xiaoli lately? It seems like he's upset with me. Xiao Zhang looked around and lowered his voice. You still don't know. What do you know? Regarding that proposal you were praised for by manager Wang last time. Xiaoli feels like you stole his idea. I was stunned. What do you mean? That idea was originally mentioned casually by Xiaoli in the tea room. You were there at the time, but you included it in the proposal. When manager Wang gave his compliments, he didn't mention Xiaoli at all. That's when I finally understood. I see. I do remember Xiaoli mentioning that idea, but at the time, I thought it was just casual talk. I never expected him to take it so seriously. Then I'll go explain things to him. Xiao Zheng shook his head. Forget it. He's too angry right now. And I heard that he spoke ill of you in front of manager Wang. My mood sank instantly. This is the RST time I've hurt someone by using this ability. Although it wasn't intentional, it was indeed my negligence. When he got home, Wang Lei was watching TV in the living room. The number above his head remained high. Affinity, 37. Lei He, what would you do if you accidentally hurt a friend? I asked, sitting next to him. Wang Lei turned off the TV and turned to look at me seriously. What happened? I simplified what happened today and told him, of course, omitting any details related to his abilities. That's definitely your fault. Wang Lei pointed out the problem directly. If you're going to use someone else's ideas, at least give them a heads up, right? The number jumped from 37 to 35. I was a bit surprised. I didn't expect Wang Lei to say something like that, but I thought it was just a casual conversation at the time. Lin Chen. Wang Lei interrupted me. One must have principles in life, even if it's an unintentional mistake. One still needs to take responsibility. The number jumped to 33. I remained silent. Wang Lei is right. I really made a mistake. Moreover, I suddenly realized that I've been focusing on numbers all this time, while ignoring basic moral principles, to earn others' favor. I've learned to give compliments, listen, and show concern, but I never learned to respect others. I'll go apologize to Xiaoli tomorrow. I finally said. Wang Lei nodded. That's the right way to do it. The number jumped back to 37. But I wasn't feeling good inside. Lying in bed, I began to reflect on my behavior during this period. On the surface, my interpersonal relationships have indeed improved a lot. But have I truly become a better person? Or has he simply become someone who's better at manipulating others? How much of my sincerity remains when I know what numerical changes each word will bring about? When I speak in order to increase someone's affection for me, are those words truly sincere from the bottom of my heart? More importantly, if one day this ability were to disappear, would I still be able to maintain these relationships? These questions keep me awake at night. At 3, I had a strange dream. In the dream, no one had a number on their head. I became Lin Chen once again, the person who didn't know how to interact with others. Zhao Ye is cold to me. Su Qing keeps her distance from me. And even Wang Lei starts to dislike me. In my dream, I shouted, "Where are the numbers? What about the affection level?" But no one answered me. When I woke up, I found that the pillow was soaked with sweat. I stared at the ceiling, and suddenly, a terrifying thought occurred to me. Perhaps this ability isn't a gift, but a curse. The next morning, I went to the company with a nervous heart. Xiao Li's rating remains at affinity, 7. He didn't even say hello when he saw me. I walked over to his desk and said, "Xiao Li, can I talk to you for a moment?" without even looking up. He said, "There's nothing to talk about." The number jumped to 9. "Regarding that idea we discussed last time, I'd like to apologize to you." This time, he raised his head, his expression cold. "What's the point of apologizing now? I know I was wrong. You were the one who came up with that idea first. I should have mentioned it in the plan." Xiao Li's expression softened a little. "Never mind. It's all in the past now." The number jumped to 5. "Never mind." I said seriously. "I've already explained the situation to Manager Wang. I'll clarify this matter during the next report." Xiao Li was a bit surprised. "Really?" The number jumped to 2. "Really? And in the future, if I ever want to use anyone else's ideas, I'll always get their permission first." Xiao Li remained silent for a moment, then nodded. "All right, let's leave it at that." The number jumped to 0. Although it's back to neutral, at least it's no longer negative. At noon, I received a WeChat message from Jaya. "There's an emergency meeting this afternoon. The art exhibition on the weekend might have to be postponed." I'm sorry. My mood plummeted to rock bottom in an instant, but I still replied, "It's okay. Work is important. Let's arrange something another time when I'm free." When I met Jaya in the afternoon, the number displayed above her head was affinity, 12. That's 5 points less than the last time we met. "I'm really sorry. There's been a sudden change in this project," she explained as she approached. "I understand. It's just part of the job," I said, trying to act nonchalant. The number jumped to 13. But I have some doubts. Why did her numbers suddenly drop? Is it because you feel guilty about canceling the appointment? Or is there some other reason? After work in the evening, I ran into Sister Zhang from the neighboring department in the elevator. Her status read, Affinity 6, Kobayashi. "How have you been lately?" She greeted warmly. "Not bad. Where is Sister Zhang?" "I'm completely swamped with work. Working overtime every day. By the way, I heard you and Xiao Zhao are quite close." I was shocked inside, but remained calm on the surface. "They're just ordinary friends." Sister Zhang smiled meaningfully. "Just ordinary friends. I think she has a fondness for you." The number jumped to 8. "But you need to be careful," Sister Zhang said in a lower voice. "It seems like she really does have a boyfriend. I've seen her eating with a man who drives a BMW." My heart started beating faster. Is that really true? I saw it with my own eyes. Right at that Italian restaurant downstairs. That man seemed very wealthy. He even bought her an expensive handbag. The number jumped to 10. Sister Zhang seems to really enjoy gossiping. So if you really like her, it's better to make your feelings known sooner. Otherwise, you'll lose your chance. When I got home, my feelings were extremely complicated. Wang Lei is busy in the kitchen. The message Affinity 37 displayed above his head gives me a sense of comfort. "Brother Lei, I have a question for you." I walked into the kitchen. "Speak. If you like a girl, but she already has a boyfriend, what would you do?" Wang Lei stopped what he was doing and turned to look at me. "You mean Zhaoya?" I was surprised. "How do you know?" "Come on. You've been smiling foolishly every day lately. And you keep mentioning her from time to time. It's hard not to notice." The number jumped to 39. "What do you think I should do then?" Wang Lei thought carefully for a moment. "First, you need to confirm that she really has a boyfriend. Second, even if she does, it doesn't mean you have no chance. With matters of the heart, who can really predict what will happen? But what if she really has a boyfriend? Wouldn't it be wrong of me to still pursue her? It depends on the situation. If they're truly in love, then you should indeed give way. But if it's just a normal romantic relationship, then there's nothing wrong with fair competition." Wang Lei's words made me think. Indeed, I need to confirm the truth of the matter first. The next day, I decided to take the initiative, taking advantage of the lunch break. I secretly followed Xiaoya. This behavior makes me feel disgusted, but curiosity outweighs my sense of morality. Xiaoya stepped out of the company building and headed straight toward a BMW parked by the roadside. A man in a suit got out of the car to open the door for her, in a very natural manner, clearly very familiar with the routine. My heart sank to the bottom. Sister Zhang is telling the truth. But what shocked me even more was that when I focused on observing that man, numbers appeared above his head as well. Affinity, 25. What does this mean? It means that Xiaoya has a very high level of affection for him. And me? Only 12. I suddenly felt really ridiculous. During this time, I thought I was making progress and that Xiaoya was growing fonder of me. But it turned out to be my own delusion. Her affection for me is indeed increasing, but it's merely the kind of affection that exists between friends. It's nothing like love at all. What kind of number should true love be? 50? 100? I don't know, because I've never seen numbers that high before. When I returned to the office in the afternoon, the way I looked at Xiaoya had completely changed. The affinity, 12 displayed above her head, was utterly ironic. Lin Chen, what's wrong? You don't seem quite right. Xiao Zhang walked over. Concerned. Above his head, it displayed affinity, 30. Seeing this number, I suddenly had a crazy idea. If I tell Xiao Zhang that I can see the affection level numbers, will he believe me? Brother Zhang, do you believe in superpowers in this world? I asked tentatively. Xiao Zhang was momentarily stunned. What superpower? For example, the ability to see what others are thinking. Xiao Zhang laughed. Have you watched too many movies? But if such an ability really existed, it would be terrifying. The number jumped to 28. Why is it scary? Think about it. If someone could know all your thoughts, would you still have any privacy? Besides, people's thoughts are complex sometimes. Even we ourselves aren't sure what we're thinking. Zhang's words made me think deeply. Indeed, if everyone knew I had this ability, what would they think of me? Will they think I'm a monster? Do they think I'm constantly invading their privacy? This ability is increasingly becoming more like a curse. It made me see the true nature of people, but it also took away my innocence. After learning too much that I shouldn't have known, can I still live like an ordinary person? On my way home from work, I ran into Sister Zhang again. Her status read, Affinity, 10, Kobayashi. I noticed you seemed upset this afternoon. Could it be because of what I said? She asked with concern. A little bit, I guess. I smiled bitterly. I told you so. You should have made your stance earlier. It's too late to regret now. The number jumped to 12. Sister Zhang, what do you think would happen if someone knew too much that they shouldn't know? Sister Zhang thought for a moment. It depends on what the matter is. There are some things that it's better not to know, as knowing them can only bring pain. Like what? For example, if a friend betrays you or your partner cheats on you, what good is knowing about it? It only causes more pain. The number jumped to 14. So sometimes, being a little more confused can actually make one happier. That's right. It's good to be a little foolish sometimes. Sister Zhang's words really touched me deeply. Maybe she's right. Sometimes, it's better not to know certain things. But I already know, and I can't forget it. This ability is like Pandora's box once opened. It can never be closed again. When I got home, I decided to conduct an experiment. I want to give it a try. What will happen if I completely ignore those numbers and act solely based on my true thoughts? Wang Lei was watching TV on the sofa. The display above his head, Affinity, 37, remained unchanged. Brother Lei, I've decided to give up pursuing Xiaoya, I said directly. Wang Lei was a bit surprised. What? Weren't you asking for my advice just yesterday? Because I found out that she has a boyfriend now. Then you need to work even harder. So what if you have a boyfriend? You're not married yet. I shook my head. Forget it. I don't want to be the third party. Wang Lei's number jumped to 40. Seeing this change, I suddenly understood something. It turns out that Wang Lei appreciates people with principles more. Although he claims to advocate fair competition, deep down, he values moral principles more. This is the first time I've managed to get a higher favorability rating by ignoring the numbers. Perhaps sincerity is more important than skill. In the days that followed, I tried to deliberately ignore those numbers and interact with people in the most genuine way possible. The results were beyond my expectations. Although some people's favorability levels decreased, those of others increased instead. For example, with Lee, when I stopped trying to please him excessively and simply conducted normal work-related interactions, his score went from 0 to 8. As for Su Qing, once I stopped praising and showing concern for her every day, her score dropped from 15 to 7. This made me realize something. True goodwill isn't earned by trying to please others. But the biggest challenges are yet to come. On Friday afternoon, Manager Wang suddenly called me into his office. Lin Chen, there's an urgent project that needs your attention. The client wants to see the proposal by next Monday. Time is very tight. Above his head, it displayed Affinity 3. No problem. I'll take care of it. I took the documents. This project is very important. If it's successful, it'll be beneficial for your career development. The number jumped to 5. I've noticed that when I demonstrate enthusiasm and competence, Manager Wang's approval of me indeed increases. But this time, I didn't try to please anyone deliberately. I really wanted to do the project well. Over the weekend, I spent the 2 days working overtime at the company. To my surprise, Zhao was also working overtime. Why are you here too? She seemed surprised to see me. At the top of her screen, it read, Affinity 11. This was a slight decrease from the last time they met. There's an urgent project. How about you? Me too. The client suddenly wanted to change the plan. She said with a bitter smile. We each worked in our own corners of the empty office, exchanging a few words from time to time. Gradually, I found myself beginning to enjoy this simple way of getting along with others. No tricks. No calculations, just a normal conversation between two people who work overtime. Are you hungry? I'll go get some snacks for dinner. I offered voluntarily. Okay, thank you. The number jumped to 13. On my way to buy something for dinner, I suddenly remembered what Sister Zhang had said. Zhao Ye does have a boyfriend, and it seems like their relationship is pretty good. But so what? I can give up pursuing certain things, but I can't give up friendship. If she only sees me as a friend, then I can also see her as a friend. Back at the office, we ate the fried noodles we bought from a street vendor together. These noodles are quite delicious, Zhao Ye said with a smile. Right. I go to this shop quite often. The owner is a very down-to-earth person. Do you often eat late-night snacks by yourself? Not really. Just occasionally when I work overtime. She nodded and didn't ask any further questions. The figure remains at 13. I suddenly realized that when I stopped using every sentence as a way to boost someone's favorability toward me, the conversations became much more natural. Lin Chen, Zhao Ye suddenly said, You're a great friend. The number jumped to 15. Friend. This word makes me feel mixed emotions. There's both loss and relief. You too. I replied sincerely. On Monday morning, I submitted the proposal to Manager Wang on time. Finished so quickly. He was a bit surprised. I worked 2 extra days over the weekend. Manager Wang flipped through the proposal, looking increasingly satisfied. The number above his head jumped from 5 to 8. then to 12. Very good. The creativity and execution are both excellent. If this project succeeds, you'll definitely get a decent commission. Thank you, manager. I'll keep working hard. The number jumped to 15. In the afternoon, clients came to the company to discuss the proposal. I gave the presentation nervously, occasionally checking the numbers displayed above the client's head. Main person in charge, affinity, 3. Assistant, affinity, 8. Finance manager, affinity, 2. During the presentation, I adjusted the focus of my explanation based on the changes in the numbers. When the figure for the main person in charge rises to 10, I know I've succeeded. Very good. Let's proceed according to this plan. The client made the final decision. Manager Wong was so happy he couldn't stop smiling. The figure also rose to 20. Lin Chen, well done. You're the best employee of the month. Colleagues came over to congratulate me one after another. As I watched the numbers flashing on their screens, my feelings were mixed. I did succeed, but how much of that success was due to my abilities? And how much was due to mind reading? If I don't have this ability, can I still complete this project? When work was over, Zhaoya approached me on her own. Congratulations. I heard the project was a huge success. She smiled sweetly. Digital display. Affinity. 16. Thank you. By the way, can I still go to the art exhibition this weekend? I asked tentatively. She hesitated for a moment. Actually, my boyfriend also had plans that day. My heart skipped a beat. She finally admitted it. It's okay. Let's arrange another time. I try to stay calm. Lin Chen, she said seriously, I think I should tell you that I have a boyfriend now. The number jumped to 18. I know. She was a little surprised. You know, someone told me. But it doesn't matter. It's fine for friends to go to an exhibition together. She sighed in relief. That's good. I was worried you might misunderstand. The number jumped to 20. Looking at this number, I suddenly understood something. When I act generously and understandingly, her favor toward me indeed increases. But this fondness is merely that between friends, not love. What I've always sought is her approval as a friend, not her love as a lover. This realization made me feel a bit disappointed, but also somewhat relieved. At least now I know where I am. When he got home, Wang Lei was cooking in the kitchen. The affinity, 40 displayed above his head makes me feel warm. Brother Lei, today was a great success. I went into the kitchen to help. I can see it. Your expression has changed completely, he said with a smile. By the way, I've thought things through regarding Zhaoya. How did you come to that decision? She has a boyfriend, and she only sees me as a friend. Since that's the case, I'll just treat her as a friend too. Wang Lei nodded. That's a good way of thinking. Forced sweetness doesn't exist. The number jumped to 42. While eating, I suddenly thought of a question. Lei, what's the difference between friendship and love? In your opinion? Wang Lei thought for a moment. Friendship is about understanding and support, while love is about possessiveness and dependence. Then which one do you think is more important? Both are important, but friendship lasts longer. Love may fade, but true friendship lasts a lifetime. The number jumped to 44. I suddenly realized why Wang Lei's score was so high. It's not because I used any tricks, but because there's truly a genuine friendship between us. He cares about me, supports me, and understands me, and I truly consider him a friend. This kind of relationship doesn't require any special skills to maintain, as it's built on sincerity. Lying in bed at night, I reflected on what I've gained during this time. Numbers can help me understand others' thoughts, but they can't replace genuine communication. True goodwill isn't earned by trying to please others, but through sincerity and understanding. Sometimes, knowing certain things isn't necessarily a good thing, but once you know, you must learn to accept it. Friendship is more precious than love because it doesn't require anything in return. Most importantly, I've begun to learn how to distinguish which numbers are worth pursuing and which ones are meaningless. A friend's 44 is more valuable than a stranger's 100 because the former is based on real relationships, while the latter might just be a temporary illusion. This ability truly changed my life, but not in the way I had initially imagined. It didn't make me a great socializer, nor did it win me everyone's affection, but it taught me what real interpersonal relationships are. Maybe that's enough. Just when I thought life was starting to get on track, a crisis struck unexpectedly. It was Wednesday afternoon. I was focused on revising the proposal when I suddenly noticed that something was off in the office atmosphere. Colleagues were whispering among themselves, occasionally glancing my way. I looked up and noticed that the numbers on several people's heads had decreased. Xiaozhong, it's dropped from 30 to 25. Shaoli, it dropped from 8 to 3. Even Su Qing's score dropped from 7 to 2. What happened? I headed to the tea room, hoping to get some information. As I passed by, I heard intermittent conversations. I heard that. That's unlikely. The evidence is conclusive. When I appeared, everyone immediately stopped discussing. The atmosphere became awkward and tense. What's wrong? I asked tentatively. Nothing much, just chatting casually. Xiao Zhang replied in a stiff manner. His number dropped by another 2 points. 23. The unease in my heart grows stronger and stronger. During the meeting in the afternoon, Manager Wang's attitude was also noticeably cold. The number above his head dropped from 15 to 8, and he barely made eye contact with me at all. After the meeting, I went to find Manager Wang on my own. Manager, is there anything I need to improve? He glanced up at me, his eyes seeming filled with disappointment. Lin Chen, one must be honest in life. The number has dropped to 5. What do you mean? You know best in your own heart. He turned and left the office. I was completely confused. What exactly happened? After work, I stopped Xiao Zhang. Brother Zhang, what's going on? Everyone's being very cold toward me today. Xiao Zhang looked around, hesitated for a moment before speaking. Some people say you eavesdrop on others' conversations. I was stunned. What? Last Friday night, weren't you working overtime with Zhaoya? Someone saw you lying next to her desk, as if you were eavesdropping on her phone calls. My head buzzed. It's true. There really is such a thing. That night, Zhaoya received a phone call, her voice somewhat excited. I happened to pass by her workstation at that time, so I stopped instinctively to listen for a while. But I have no ill intentions at all. I'm just curious. Who saw it? Sister Zhang. She went around telling everyone about this morning. Xiao Zhang's number dropped a few more points. 20. My heart sank to the bottom. I see. Then everyone else knows. Basically, everyone knows about it. People think you're not very reliable and that you like to pry into others' private affairs. I want to explain, but I don't know where to start. I can't just say that I have telepathy and am therefore particularly sensitive to what others are thinking. When he got home, Wang Lei was watching TV in the living room. The number above his head was still high, 44. Seeing this number, I felt a little more relieved. At least Wang Lei doesn't know about this yet. Lei He, what would you do if someone misunderstood you? I sat next to him. It depends on the situation. If it's a real misunderstanding, then explain it clearly. If one really made a mistake, then admit it. The figure remains at 44. What if the explanation isn't clear enough? Then prove it with actions. Time will tell everything. Wang Lei's words made me feel a little more relieved. But the situation was even worse the next day. I've noticed that almost everyone's fondness for me has decreased. Su Qing, 2 became 1. Shaoli, 3 turned into 2. Even some colleagues I'm not very familiar with usually look at me with suspicion. What made me even more desperate was that Zhaoya also started to keep her distance from me. The number above her head dropped from 20 to 8. Zhaoya, I'd like to explain what happened that night. She gave me a cold look. No need to explain. I know what you heard. I really have no ill intentions. Lin Chen. She interrupted me. I think we should stop contacting each other for now. The number jumped to 3. My heart is completely broken. This is the first time I've experienced the feeling of being abandoned by everyone. What's worse, I began to doubt myself. Maybe I really did something wrong. Perhaps this ability has turned me into a voyeur. Perhaps everyone's reaction is correct. At noon, I ate alone at a small restaurant near the company. Suddenly, Sister Zhang came in. When she saw me, a somewhat smug expression appeared on her face. Above her head, it read, Affinity 8. This is the first time I've seen her having a negative opinion of me. Kobayashi. Eating alone. She walked over, her tone tinged with sarcasm. Yes, I kept my head down, eating, not wanting to talk to her. Hearing that things haven't been going well at work lately, I glanced up at her and suddenly understood something. She did it on purpose. She deliberately spread word about what happened that night. Sister Zhang, why would you do this? I asked directly. She paused for a moment, then returned to her normal state. I have no idea what you're talking about. But the number above her head jumped to 12. That night, I just happened to pass by Zhaoya's workstation. I certainly wasn't eavesdropping on her phone calls. Is that so? Then why did you stay there for so long? Sister Zhang asked in return. I'm speechless, because I did stop for a moment. Although it wasn't to eavesdrop, it certainly seemed suspicious to an outsider. Sister Zhang, we've never had any grudges against each other. Have we? Why would you want to harm me? Sister Zhang's expression became distorted. Harmed you? I just told you what I saw. The number jumped to 15. If you feel wronged, then go and explain things clearly to everyone. After saying that, she turned around and left the restaurant. Watching her retreating figure, I suddenly remembered the conversation we had in the elevator last time. She said at the time that Zhaoya had a boyfriend. I thought she was just trying to be helpful and give a reminder. Thinking about it now, maybe she just wanted to make fun of me. But why would she do such a thing? I carefully recalled every interaction I had with Sister Zhang, trying to figure out why she disliked me. Suddenly, I remembered a detail. During the departmental get-together last month, I accidentally mentioned Sister Zhang's age. At the time, I thought it was just a joke. But now, I realized that those words might have hurt her. Moreover, I noticed that she always paid more attention to younger male colleagues. Maybe she felt something for me, but my clumsiness let her down. Or maybe she simply doesn't like people like me at all. Anyway, the situation is now quite clear. Sister Zhang is deliberately targeting me, and now I've become the office pariah. This is the biggest crisis I've faced since I acquired this ability. Moreover, this crisis cannot be resolved by numbers alone. Even if I know everyone's level of fondness for me, even if I know what they're thinking, I can't restore the trust that's already been lost. Trust is something that, once lost, is very difficult to regain. When I got home in the evening, I told Wang Lei about this. After hearing my story, he remained silent for a long time. Lin Chen, let me ask you something. Were you really just passing by that night? The number above his head dropped from 44 to 40. I hesitated for a moment, but in the end, I told the truth. It's true. I stopped for a while. But I really had no ill intentions. Why stop? It's just curiosity, I suppose. Wang Lei's score dropped a few more points. 37. Lin Chen. Tell me honestly, do you do this all the time? I don't know how to answer. If I say yes, what will he think of me? If I say no, then I'm lying. In the end, I chose to remain silent. Wang Lei noticed my expression and seemed to understand something. I think you need to reflect on your own behavior. The figure has dropped to 33. This is the first time I've seen Wang Lei's affection for me drop significantly. Moreover, this decline causes me more pain than the cold treatment I receive at the office. Because Wang Lei is my most trusted friend. If even he starts to doubt me, what else do I have to rely on? That night, I couldn't sleep. I began to seriously consider the changes this ability has brought to me. On the surface, my interpersonal relationships have indeed improved a lot. But in reality, have I become a better person? I've learned how to increase others' goodwill toward me. But have I learned how to interact with people sincerely? I know everyone's thoughts, but do I respect their privacy? I've gained the ability to read minds. But what have I lost in return? Perhaps what I've lost is the most precious thing of all. Innocence. How much sincerity is left when I treat every interaction as a digital game? When I speak and act in order to increase someone's affection for me, am I still the same person as before? This ability is like a mirror that allows me to see others clearly, as well as myself. And the person I see in front of me isn't a pleasant person at all. Over the next week, the situation continued to deteriorate. The attitude of my colleagues in the office changed from indifferent to outright hostility. Some people start avoiding me on purpose. Others stop talking when I pass by. Some even whisper behind my back. What's worse, I found that I was completely excluded from all discussions related to the work. Jean, who used to discuss plans with me all the time, now just nods at me perfunctorily when he sees me. The number above his head has dropped to 15. Manager Wang even avoids meeting me. I knock on his office door, and he always says he's busy. His number dropped all the way from 5 to 3. Even Su Qing at the front desk started ignoring me. Her number has now become 5. What makes me saddest is Jiaya. The way she looks at me now is filled with disgust, as if I'm some disgusting creature. The number displayed above her head remained at 1, likely out of basic courtesy. Only Shaoli behaves normally towards me. His score remains around 1, which is on the lower end of the neutral range. Perhaps it's because I took the initiative to apologize to him before, making him think that I'm responsible enough. But even he didn't dare to get too close to me in public. I'm beginning to understand what it means by when a wall collapses. Everyone pushes at it. Once someone labels you negatively, others will automatically keep their distance from you, afraid of being implicated. At lunch, I sat alone in a corner. What used to be lively lunchtime has turned into a lonely ordeal. I watched my colleagues around me, laughing and chatting with each other. The numbers displayed above their heads showed the level of affection they felt for one another. I'm like a transparent person. No, it's worse than being invisible. Invisibles at least won't be disliked. In the afternoon, Manager Wang suddenly called me into his office. Lin Chen, we need to talk. At the top of his screen, it read, Affinity, 5. This was 2 points lower than the last time they met. Manager, please go ahead. Your work performance hasn't been very good lately. And he hesitated for a moment. There are also issues with teamwork. I can improve. Lin Chen. Manager Wang looked me straight in the eyes. Honesty is very important to me. If you've done anything inappropriate, it's better to confess it now. The number jumped to 7. I know what he's implying. Manager. Regarding what happened that night, I did pass by Zhao Ya's workstation, but I definitely had no intention of eavesdropping on her phone calls. Then why did you stop? It's just, I overheard a few words by chance. I was curious. That's all. Manager Wang's expression became even more serious. Curious. Lin Chen. This isn't curiosity. This is invading someone's privacy. The number jumped to 10. I know I did something wrong, but I really didn't mean any harm. No malice. Then what did you hear? I was stunned. I did hear something. It seems like Zhao Ye was arguing with her boyfriend. But I can't possibly say those things out loud. Doing so would only prove that I was indeed eavesdropping. I don't remember anything. Manager Wang sneered. Can't remember. Then why did you stop in the first place? The number jumped to 12. Lin Chen, I'm very disappointed in you. I thought you were a trustworthy employee, but it seems I was wrong. Manager, please give me one more chance. Opportunities. Manager Wang stood up. Lin Chen, trust is something that's hard to regain once lost. How can I trust someone who snoops into their colleagues' private affairs? The number jumped to 15. Starting tomorrow, you'll be responsible for handling some simple document organization tasks. As for important projects, you will need to get involved in those. This sentence was like a thunderbolt to me. Being marginalized means my career is essentially over. Manager, you may go now. Manager Wang had already started dealing with other documents and clearly didn't want to talk to me anymore. I walked out of the office with heavy steps. In the hallway, several colleagues stopped talking as soon as they saw me coming out of the manager's office. The numbers above their heads are all negative. 3, 5. I feel like I'm some kind of plague. When I got off work, I passed by Zhao Ye's desk. She was packing her things, and she clearly frowned when she saw me. Zhao Ye, I want to apologize to you, I said, mustering my courage. She stopped what she was doing and stared at me coldly. Apologize? Do you really think apologizing will help anything? The number jumped from 1 to 2. I know I did something wrong, but I really didn't mean any harm. No, Lin Chen. Her voice rose a few degrees. Then tell me, what exactly did you hear? I don't know how to answer. If I say I heard nothing, then I'm lying. If I say I heard her arguing with her boyfriend, then it proves that I was indeed eavesdropping. My silence only made her angrier. Lin Chen, I'm really disappointed. I thought you were a trustworthy friend. But instead, you spied on my private affairs behind my back. The number jumped to 5. Let's not get in touch anymore. After saying that, she picked up her bag and left the office, leaving me standing there alone. Watching her leave, I felt an unprecedented sense of loneliness. When he got home, Wang Lei was cooking in the kitchen. The number above his head is now 30, which is slightly lower than it was a few days ago. Brother Lei, how was your day? I tried to act nonchalant. Not bad. How about you? You seem a bit upset. I hesitated for a moment, but decided to tell the truth anyway. I've been marginalized. Manager Wang has assigned me to handle document organization tasks and won't let me participate in any important projects anymore. Wang Lei stopped what he was doing and turned to look at me. Because of that incident, he remained silent for a moment. Lin Chen, do you really think you didn't do anything wrong? The number jumped from 30 to 25. I did make a mistake, but it wasn't as serious as everyone thinks. What do you think should be done then? I don't know, I said, shaking my head in frustration. No one trusts me anymore. Wang Lei walked over and patted my shoulder. Lin Chen, sometimes we need to take responsibility for the consequences of our actions. The number jumped to 20. But Lei Ge, I really don't have any ill intentions. Whether something is malicious or not isn't up to you to decide. It's up to how others feel about it. His words left me unable to argue back. Indeed, regardless of my intentions, my actions made others uncomfortable. and what others feel is more important than my original intentions. During meals, we were all very silent. I can sense that Wang Lei's opinion of me has changed. Although he said nothing, the numbers displayed above his head said it all. After dinner, I sat alone on the balcony, looking at the city lights outside the window. I began to seriously reflect on my experiences over this period of time. This ability has indeed allowed me to see many things that others cannot see. But at the same time, it also made me lose many precious things. Most importantly, it turned me into a person I didn't even recognize myself as. To earn higher favoritism, I learned to observe people's expressions and to do what they appreciate. But I also learned to spy and to scheme. I've become more sensitive, more suspicious, and less trusting of others, because I know that what people appear to be friendly might just be courtesy on the surface. Their true thoughts are what really matter. But this reality makes me suffer. When I realized that Zhao Ye had never really liked me at all, I was devastated. I felt very hurt when I realized that my colleagues' compliments towards me were merely superficial. I was very hurt when I found out that Manager Wang hadn't really liked me all along. Perhaps it's better not to know certain things at all. Perhaps Sister Zhang is right. It's better to be confused sometimes. I begin to wonder whether this ability is actually a gift or a curse. It made me see the complexity of human nature, but it also took away the innocence from my relationships with others. It brought me brief success, but also plunged me into even deeper trouble. No, I'm facing a crisis in my career. I've lost almost all my friends, and even my closest roommate has started to distance themselves from me. This is the price to pay. What seems like a powerful ability actually comes with a huge price. I remembered a story I heard when I was a child. A man gained a pair of eyes that could see through everything. He thought he had acquired the most precious treasure in the world. As a result, he saw too much that he shouldn't have seen, and in the end, he chose to gouge out his own eyes. Perhaps I am that person right now. I've gained the ability to see through people's hearts, but I've also endured the pain that comes with doing so. The question is, like the people in the story, choose to give up this ability, or do I have no choices left? Looking at the twinkling lights outside the window, I fell into deep thought. Over the weekend, I decided to stop passively enduring all of this. Since I possess this ability, why not use it to defend myself? I need to figure out who the real allies are and who the enemies are, and then develop a counterplan. First, I analyze the current situation. Clear enemy, Sister Zhang affinity, 15. Neutral to negative, Manager Wang affinity, 15. Zhao Ye affinity, 5. Su Qing affinity, 5. Neutral. Shaoli affinity, 1. Still friendly. Wang Lei affinity, 20. Most of the other colleagues' scores range from 3 to 8. The situation is very bad, but there's not entirely no hope. The key is to find a breakthrough. I'll start with Li. On Monday, when I went to work, I took the initiative to approach Shaoli. Brother Li, can I talk to you in private? He hesitated for a moment, but still nodded. What is it? Regarding what happened that night, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Shaoli looked around to make sure no one was paying attention, then spoke up. To be honest, I think everyone's reaction is a bit excessive. The number above his head jumped from 1 to 2. What do you think? I pressed further. I think what you did might not have been entirely appropriate, but it certainly wasn't something that warranted such harsh criticism from everyone. The number jumped to 5. Then, can you help me think of a solution? Right now, I feel like everyone in the office is isolating me. Shaoli thought for a moment. Why don't you take the initiative to talk to Sister Zhang? After all, she's the one who spread the word. I'm worried she won't listen to my explanation. Well, you should at least give it a try. Also, I think you should formally apologize to Zhao Ye in front of everyone. The number jumped to 8. Xiao Li's suggestions are sound, but they're difficult to implement. But at least I now have an ally. At noon, I mustered the courage to find Sister Zhang. She was having lunch at the cafe downstairs from the company. She clearly wasn't happy to see me. Is there something? Her tone was cold. The numbers show. Affinity, 18. It's dropped another 3 points since our last meeting. Sister Zhang, I'd like to talk to you about what happened that night. There's nothing to discuss. The facts are just the facts. I admit I didn't do things right, but I think you might have misunderstood my motives. Sister Zhang sneered. Misunderstanding. Then tell me, what's your real motive? I took a deep breath. I admit that I did stop and listen for a moment, but I wasn't eavesdropping on purpose. Zhao, you sounded very upset on the phone, and I was worried that she might be in trouble. Worried? Sister Zhang's expression became even more scornful. A grown man like you worrying about some girl's private matters. The number jumped to 20. Sister Zhang, we used to get along well. Why are you targeting me like this? Her expression suddenly became very strange, as if she wanted to say something but held back. I wasn't targeting you. I was just telling the truth. The number jumped to 22. If I've said something wrong in the past that has offended you, I'm willing to apologize. Sister Zhang stood up and looked down at me. Lin Chen, do you really think every woman will forgive you just because you say you're sorry? After saying that, she turned around and left the cafe. Watching her retreating figure, I suddenly understood something. Her reaction was too extreme to be simply driven by a sense of justice. Maybe Shaoli is right. Sister Zhang has deeper reasons for being hostile toward me. In the afternoon, I took the opportunity to observe the interactions between Sister Zhang and the other colleagues. I've noticed an interesting phenomenon. When she talks with young male colleagues, the numbers are usually quite high. When she talks with younger female colleagues, the numbers are usually lower. Especially when she saw Zhao, her score dropped to around 10. What does this indicate? Perhaps Sister Zhang is hostile toward the young women in the office, especially those who are popular with male colleagues like Zhao. As one of those who pursued Zhao, naturally became her enemy as well. After realizing this, I began to develop new strategies. Since Sister Zhang is targeting me out of jealousy, I need to find evidence to prove it. After work, I deliberately stayed at the company a little longer. Sure enough, I saw Sister Zhang walking toward Zhaoya's workstation. She thought no one was in the office, so she acted in a very rude manner. She looked through the documents on Zhaoya's desk and even opened Zhaoya's drawer. I quietly recorded this scene with my mobile phone. At that moment, Sister Zhang suddenly turned around and saw me. Her face instantly turned pale. What are you doing here? Her voice trembled slightly. Over time, I replied calmly, but Sister Zhang, what are you doing at Zhaoya's desk? Sister Zhang frantically sorted through the drawers. I'm trying to find a document. Do you really have to rummage through someone else's private drawers to find a file? Her number jumped from 22 to 30. This. Sister Zhang. I stepped closer. I think we need to have a serious talk. Sister Zhang looked at the phone in my hand, her expression becoming even more displeased. What do you want to do? I want to make things right. I said sincerely. I admit I was wrong that day. But your behavior now seems even more excessive, doesn't it? Sister Zhang remained silent for a long time, eventually sitting down dejectedly in her chair. What do you want? I hope you can clarify what happened that night. Tell everyone that I wasn't eavesdropping maliciously. I just happened to be passing by chance. What if I don't agree? I shook my phone. Then I'll send this video to the HR department. I think they'll be quite interested in the fact that employees are going through their colleagues' personal belongings. Sister Zhang's number jumped to 35. She knew she had no choice. All right, I agree. The next day, Sister Zhang took the opportunity to clarify the situation with several key colleagues. She said that what happened that night might have been misunderstood by her. I probably just happened to be passing by chance, with no intention of eavesdropping. Although she said it reluctantly, it still had an effect. Some colleagues have started to feel more positive toward me again. Xiaozhong, it rose from 15 to 18. Su Qing rose from 5 to 2. Xiaoli increased from 8 to 12. But Manager Wang and Zhao Ya's attitudes remained unchanged. Manager Wang, affinity, 15. Zhao Ya, affinity, 5. It seems I need to take further action. In the afternoon, I mustered the courage to knock on Manager Wang's office door. Manager, I'd like to report on my work progress to you. Come in. His tone remained cold. Manager, regarding what happened that night, Sister Zhang has clarified the situation. She said it might have been a misunderstanding of my actions. Manager Wang glanced at me and said, even if it was a misunderstanding, your behavior was still inappropriate. The number remains unchanged at 15. I know. I've thought deeply about it, and I want to prove my change through concrete actions. What action? I hope to be involved in important projects again. I'll prove through my performance that I'm trustworthy. Manager Wang pondered for a moment. Lin Chen, trust isn't something that can be rebuilt in just a day or two. I understand, but I hope you'll give me this chance. Here's what I suggest. There's a small project next week that you can work on, but I'll be closely monitoring your performance. The number jumped from 15 to 12. Although it's just a small increase, it's still a good start. When he got home in the evening, Wang Lei was watching TV in the living room. The number above his head is now 22, up from a few days ago. Lei He, things are a bit better today. I sat next to him. What do you mean? Sister Zhang clarified that matter. And Manager Wang also agreed to let me participate in the new project. Wang Lei nodded. That's good. But Lin Chen, I hope you can truly learn from this experience. What lesson? One must have principles in life. Under no circumstances should one violate others' privacy. The number jumped to 25. I understand. But inside, I'm actually very complicated. Although the situation has improved, I know it's only temporary. Moreover, the method I used to counter Sister Zhang was, in essence, no different from the actions she accused me of. I recorded her opening Zhao Ya's drawer. Isn't that also a form of snooping? To protect myself. I became like the very people I used to despise. This makes me even more disappointed in myself. Perhaps this is the price of having such abilities. To survive, I had to abandon certain principles. To gain an advantage, I had to use certain tactics. I'm becoming someone I don't even recognize anymore. But the question is, do I have any other choices? Just when I thought things were starting to get better, a surprising discovery completely changed my perspective on the entire situation. It was Thursday afternoon when I ran into Zhao Ya in the tea room. Since that conversation, we haven't spent time together alone in a long time. She seemed embarrassed when she saw me and wanted to leave. Zhao Ya, wait a moment. I called out to her. She stopped, but didn't turn around. What is it? The numbers show affinity 3, which is a slight improvement from before. I'd like to apologize again for what happened that night. I know Sister Zhang has already clarified the matter. You don't need to say anything further. Her tone remained cold, with the rating staying at 3. No, that's not what I meant. I took a deep breath. What I want to apologize for is that I actually overheard your conversation with your boyfriend. Zhao Yu turned around abruptly, her eyes filled with anger. What? The number jumped to 8. I heard you guys arguing about some work-related matters. You? She was too angry to speak. But what I want to say is, I didn't tell anyone about this. And I think your boyfriend isn't treating you well enough. Zhaoya was stunned. What do you mean? From your tone of voice, it seems like he's accusing you of being too busy with work and neglecting him. But I think a person who truly loves you should support your career, rather than complaining. The number slowly decreased from 8 to 3. Zhaoya remained silent for a long time, then gave a bitter smile. You're right, but this isn't something you should know. I know I made a mistake, but I also want to say that you deserve someone better. She glanced at me, her expression complicated. Lin Chen, you know what? If you had just told me these things directly, instead of eavesdropping and pretending not to know, maybe we could still be friends. This sentence was like a light bulb going off for me. It turns out that the problem isn't what I heard, but rather how I dealt with it. If I had simply admitted that I heard her and shown concern for her, things would have been completely different. Zhaoya, is it still useful to talk about these things now? She thought for a moment. Maybe. At least I know you mean no harm. The number jumped to 0. Then let's not be friends anymore. But at least I won't misunderstand you anymore. Although we haven't become friends again, at least the hostility has been removed. For me, that's already a huge improvement. Back at my desk, I felt a little better. But the real shock was yet to come. When I got off work, I overheard a conversation between two colleagues from the HR department in the elevator. Have you heard about Sister Zhang? What's the matter? She requested a department transfer, saying she couldn't tolerate the current work environment. My heart started beating faster, and I immediately focused on observing their numbers. First colleague, affinity, 5. Second colleague, affinity, 3. The fact that they have no hostility toward me means this isn't a topic meant to target me. Why is there a sudden need to change departments? I heard it's because of a relationship issue. She kept pursuing a male colleague at the company, but he wasn't interested in her at all. My head buzzed. Who is it? I don't know who it is exactly, but I heard it's a young person. Sister Zhang has been in a bad mood lately and seems distracted at work. The elevator arrived, and they stepped out. I stood in the elevator, completely shocked. So Sister Zhang really has feelings for a male colleague in the office. You were rejected. If that's the case, then her actions toward me and Zhaoya make perfect sense. She's probably trying to distract from her emotional frustrations. But who exactly does she like? The next day, I began to observe more carefully the interactions between Sister Zhang and the other male colleagues. I noticed that when she talked to Xiao Zhang, the number would jump to around 15. When talking with Li, the number was around 10. When talking with several other young male colleagues, the numbers ranged from 5 to 12. But the strangest thing was that I noticed she kept glancing in one direction secretly. The person sitting in that direction is Xiao Zhang. Wait, I suddenly remembered something. During the departmental get-together last month, Sister Zhang did indeed talk with Xiao Zhang quite often. And at that time, I also thought she was particularly enthusiastic toward Xiao Zhang. If she likes Xiao Zhang, I began to think back to Xiao Zhang's behavior lately. His affection for me has always been quite stable, around 18, but I never paid any attention to his feelings towards Sister Zhang. At noon, I deliberately looked for opportunities to observe Xiao Zhang. When Sister Zhang passed by us, I focused on the number on Xiao Zhang's head. The result shocked me greatly. Affinity, 5. Xiao Zhang actually has a negative affection level towards Sister Zhang. This shows that he not only doesn't like Sister Zhang, but actually rather dislikes her. Meanwhile, Sister Zhang's favorability toward Xiao Zhang has increased by 15. This is a completely unequal emotional relationship. I suddenly understood the whole truth of what had happened. Sister Zhang likes Xiao Zhang, but Xiao Zhang isn't interested in her. This made Sister Zhang feel frustrated and angry, and as Xiao Zhang's good friend, I naturally became the target for her to vent her emotions on. As for Zhaoya, She might have gotten involved because Sister Zhang was jealous that the young girl received attention from her male colleagues. The entire eavesdropping incident was merely a catalyst. The real reason was Sister Zhang's emotional frustration. After thinking it all through, I felt a bit of sympathy for her. It's really painful to be disliked by someone you like. But while I feel sympathy for her, I can't let her keep using me as a punching bag. In the afternoon, I found Xiao Zhang. Brother Zhang, I'd like to ask you a personal question. What's the problem? What's your opinion of Sister Zhang? Xiao Zhang's expression immediately became uncomfortable. Why ask that suddenly? I think she has a good impression of you. Xiao Zhang smiled bitterly. Don't even mention it. She keeps finding various excuses to talk to me lately, which is really annoying. His number jumped to 20. Don't you like her? Well, she's not a bad person, but we're not right for each other. There's too big of an age difference. And I also don't really like her personality. Have you told her then? He didn't say it directly, but I think my attitude was pretty clear. Xiao Zhang shook his head, but it seems like she just won't give up. The number jumped to 22. Brother Zhang, I think you should just tell her clearly. It would be better for everyone this way. How can I even speak to her? What if she gets angry and makes a scene in the office? Xiao Zhang's concerns are not unfounded. Sister Zhang is already engaged in some irrational behaviors due to emotional setbacks. If Zhang directly refuses her, she might do something even more extreme. Just keep dragging it on like this. Let's wait and see. Maybe she'll give up after a while. But I know that Sister Zhang won't give up easily. From her hostility toward me, it's clear that she's in a very unstable emotional state right now. If not handled promptly, it could lead to even bigger problems. When I got home in the evening, I told Wang Lei about this discovery. So you mean Sister Zhang targeted you because of some emotional issues? The number displayed above Wang Lei's head is currently 28. That's probably how it is. She likes Xiao Zhang, but Xiao Zhang doesn't like her. So she took her anger out on me. What do you plan to do then? I'm thinking that maybe I should help her solve this problem. Wang Lei frowned. Do you really want to meddle in other people's romantic relationships? The number jumped from 28 to 25. It's not interfering. It's helping to resolve the situation. If Sister Zhang's emotional problems are resolved, she won't target me anymore. Lin Chen, Wang Lei said seriously. Relationships are complicated. It's best if you stay out of it. The number jumped to 20. But if I ignore it, this problem will continue to exist. That's none of your business. You've already solved your own problems. Why go and cause trouble? Wang Lei makes sense, but I still feel uneasy inside. Sister Zhang's behavior is very unpredictable right now. Who knows what she might do next? Moreover, I couldn't bear to watch her suffer any longer. After all, I know what it's like to be misunderstood by people who don't like you. Maybe I should find an opportunity to help her face reality. This is not only for my own sake, but also for her own good. But how should it be done? I need a solution that won't hurt Sister Zhang, while still solving the problem. This idea kept me thinking all night long. After much thought, I decided to adopt a bold plan. I want to confront Sister Zhang directly, but not in a hostile manner, rather with understanding and support. On Friday afternoon, I deliberately waited for Sister Zhang on her way home from work. Sister Zhang, can we talk for a moment? She was clearly nervous when she saw me. What's the matter? Digital display, affinity, 25. I think there are some misunderstandings between us that need to be clarified. What misunderstanding? I took a deep breath. Regarding Xiao Zhang, Sister Zhang's face turned pale instantly, and the number jumped to 30. I have no idea what you're talking about. Sister Zhang, we're all adults. There's no need to act like we don't understand each other. I tried to speak in a gentle tone. I know you have feelings for Xiaozhong. She remained silent for a long time, before finally forcing a bitter smile. What do you want? To threaten me? No, I want to help you. She was stunned. Help me? Yes. I know what it's like to be misunderstood or ignored by someone you like. It's very painful. The number gradually increased from 30 to 25. Why do you want to help me? I've been so mean to you. Because I think I can understand your pain. And at its core, the conflict between us isn't because I eavesdropped, but because of your emotional issues. Sister Zhang's eyes were a little red. What do you know? I know that Xiao Zhang doesn't feel that way about you. And it makes you very sad. You need a way to vent this frustration. And so I became the target. The number jumped to 20. She wanted to deny it. But in the end, she nodded. You're right, Sister Zhang. What I want to tell you is, it's not your fault. Nor is it Xiao Zhang's fault. That he doesn't like you. Feelings can't be forced. I know. But I can't control myself. Her voice trembled slightly. It's been so long since I felt this way about anyone. The number jumped to 15. Then, do you think it makes any sense to keep going like this? Torturing yourself and also torturing others? Sister Zhang remained silent for a long time, then shook her head. It makes no sense. But I don't know what to do. Would you like to hear my advice? She nodded. First, you need to accept reality. Xiao Zhang isn't going to like you. It's not your problem, it's just that you two aren't compatible. And then, you need to shift your attention to other things, like work, hobbies, or meeting new people. The number jumped to 10. The most important thing is to stop harming innocent people because of this, including yourself. Sister Zhang started crying. Lin Chen, I'm sorry. I know I made a mistake, but I couldn't control my emotions. Seeing her cry made me feel very sad too. Sister Zhang, everyone loses control sometimes. That's not embarrassing. What's embarrassing is knowing you're wrong and still not correcting it. She nodded. I'll try to change. The number jumped to 5. If you need my help, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Really? She was a little surprised. Really? Although we've had disagreements before, I think you're a good person at heart. You're just being overwhelmed by your emotions. The number jumped to 0. That night, Sister Zhang sent me a long text message, apologizing in detail and promising to change her behavior. She also said she would consider applying to be transferred to another department, giving everyone some space. The next day, the atmosphere in the office improved significantly. Sister Zhang stopped spreading negative remarks about me and even went out of her way to clarify previous misunderstandings with some colleagues. My favorability level is starting to rise across the board. Xiaozhong, it rose from 22 to 28. Shaoli, it increased from 12 to 18. Su Qing rose from 2 to 5. Even Manager Wang's score has risen from 12 to 5, although it hasn't fully returned to previous levels. At least it's no longer in the negative territory. What surprised me the most was Zhaoya. Her number went from 0 to 8. Lin Chen. She approached me on her own. Thank you. Why thank me? Sister Zhang apologized to me, saying that she had misunderstood the situation earlier. She also said that you were the one who advised her to do that. It's nothing. No, this shows that you're a kind person. She said sincerely. I held prejudices against you before. I'm sorry. The number jumped to 12. Let's be friends again. Although we're just friends, I'm already very satisfied. At least there's no more hatred between us. A month later, Sister Zhang actually got transferred to another department. Before leaving, she went out of her way to say goodbye to me. Lin Chen, thank you for your help. Without you, I might have made even more mistakes. The number above her head is currently 10. How's the new department? Great. The new environment gives me a fresh start. And she said shyly, "There's a really nice colleague over there, too." I smiled knowingly. "That's good then. By the way," she suddenly remembered something. "I've always wondered how you figured out that I liked Xiaozhong." I was momentarily stunned, then said with a smile, "A woman's intuition." She laughed heartily. "How can a grown man like you have a woman's intuition?" "Maybe it's because I'm more careful." "Indeed. You're really good at observing others' emotions." If she knew that I could actually see her emotional values, I wonder how she'd react. But I intend to keep this secret forever. A few months passed, and both my work and life returned to normal. Manager Wang has started trusting me again and assigned important projects to me. Colleagues have also reverted to their previous friendly demeanor. Even after Zhao Ye broke up with her boyfriend, we became very good friends, although she doesn't feel love for me. The 20 rating she gives me shows that our friendship is genuine. What makes me happiest is Wang Lei. The number above his head had returned to 45, even higher than before. "Lei He, what's your opinion on all this?" I asked him one evening. "What do you mean? From the beginning to the end. How has your opinion of me changed?" Wang Lei thought for a moment. "To be honest, at first, I was indeed a little disappointed in you. I felt like you had changed, become someone I didn't recognize anymore." "What happened after that?" "Later, I realized that although you made mistakes, you had the courage to face the consequences and the ability to solve problems. Most importantly, you never lost your kindness." The number jumped from 45 to 48. "The thing I did to help Sister Zhang made me see you in a new light." "Why?" "Because you could have gotten back at her, but you chose to help her instead. That shows that you're still a good person at heart." The number jumped to 50. Seeing this number, I feel a mix of emotions. This is the highest level of affection I've ever seen from my most trusted friend. Brother Lei, if one day you discover that I have some special abilities, what would you think of me?" Wang Lei was momentarily stunned, then laughed. "What special ability?" "For example, mind reading. If you really have the ability to read people's minds, then I hope you use it to help others, not to hurt them." The number remains at 50. The ability itself isn't important. What matters is how it's used. Wang Lei's words made me think deeply. Indeed, this ability itself isn't inherently good or bad. The key lies in the user's intentions and approach. If I use it to control others, then it's evil. If I use it to understand and help others, then it's kind. This experience taught me a lot. True friendship doesn't require any special skills to maintain. It's built on sincerity. It's important to understand others' thoughts, but respecting their privacy is even more important. Everyone has their own pain. Understanding is more meaningful than blaming. The greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. Those with special abilities should hold themselves to higher standards. Most importantly, I've come to understand what true interpersonal relationships are. It's not about the level of numbers, but about mutual understanding and support. It's not superficial harmony, but sincerity from the heart. No, when I see those flashing numbers, I no longer consider them as game scores. Rather, use them as windows into understanding others. When I see that someone doesn't like me very much, I don't think about ways to improve things. Instead, I wonder if I've done something wrong. When I see that someone has a high level of affection for me, I don't become arrogant. Instead, I cherish that trust. This ability still exists, but I've learned how to use it properly. It's no longer a tool I use to control others. It's a way I use to understand the world. Perhaps this is the meaning of growing up. It wasn't about gaining any special abilities, but rather learning how to become a better person. And a year later, I sat in the company's cafeteria, watching people come and go outside the window. Numbers are flashing above each passerby's head. but I've gotten used to this visual effect. Zhaoya walked over and sat across from her. What are you thinking about? Above her head, it displayed Affinity 25, thinking about the changes that have taken place this year. Indeed, there's been a big change. You've become more mature. Is that so? Of course. In the past, you were always cautious. No, you're more confident and genuine. Her words reminded me of myself when I first gained this ability. Back then, I was indeed very cautious, always adjusting my behavior based on numbers. Although I can still see numbers now, I prefer to follow my inner voice. Zhaoya, I have a question for you. Speak. What do you think true friendship is? She thought for a moment. I think it's about mutual understanding and support. Even if the other person has flaws, one is willing to tolerate them. And even when facing difficulties oneself, one knows that the other person will be there to help. I nodded. This is all I have right now. True friends, true friendship, and true interpersonal relationships. No special abilities are needed, just a sincere heart. When he got home in the evening, Wang Lei was preparing dinner. The Affinity 52 displayed above his head makes me feel warm. Lei, go. I made up my mind about one thing. What's the matter? I want to write a book about interpersonal relationships. That's a good idea. You really have a lot of experience in this area. I've already thought of the title, When I Can See the Affection Meter Numbers. Wang Lei laughed. That title is quite interesting. But can you really see it? I watched the numbers flashing on his head, smiled, and shook my head. Of course, it can't be seen. It's just a metaphor. What metaphor? It's like we can all sense how others treat us. But most people choose to ignore those signals. Wang Lei nodded thoughtfully. That makes sense. If everyone could be more sensitive to others' feelings, the world would be a better place. Yes, it will get better. There's no need to actually see the numbers. It's enough to feel them with the heart. No special skills are needed, only sincere care is required. This is the most important thing I've learned from this experience. The relationships between people are, at their core, nothing more than numbers. But these numbers don't need to be seen with the eyes. They need to be felt with the heart. When we truly learn to listen, understand, be inclusive, and show care, the numbers above everyone's head will become more positive. And this is the true art of interpersonal relationships.